Hey guys, it's Miss Trevino. Today we're going to be learning about classical music in movies and TV shows. Now I know you might be thinking, ugh, Miss Trevino, classical music, that's so boring. Well, actually, classical music isn't boring. It contributes to a lot of the movies and TV shows that you see today. They contribute to action movies, to comedy movies, to animation movies, to romantic movies. It contributes to all of those to make them more intense and make those scenes more captivating and interesting for you to watch. So I got together a few major works in classical music, and we're going to see how they are used in TV shows and movies that you might be watching today. So, first is Carmina Burana, O Fortuna by Carl Orff. Let's listen to it. So that was O Fortuna by Carl Orff, and it's a pretty intense song, am I right? And so we're going to see how Domino's uses this song in one of their commercials. So imagine if we hadn't used that music in that commercial. Would it have been as intense? Now we're going to go on to Cheaper by the Dozen, and we're going to see how they use Carmina Burana's O Fortuna in their scene. So that was Cheaper by the Dozen. And do you hear how that song really contributed to intensifying his fall? Alright, so now let's go on to Glee. And Glee is a TV show, and we're going to see how they use O Fortuna in their scene.
It's coming out of your paycheck, every penny of it!
So that was Glee. And imagine if they hadn't used O Fortuna in that, would it have been as epic? And now we're going to go on to Romeo and Juliet's Overture by Tchaikovsky. Try saying Tchaikovsky 3 times, it's pretty hard. And let's listen to Romeo and Juliet's Overture. So that was Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet's Overture. Now, if you couldn't tell, it's a love theme. It's used commonly in a lot of love scenes. And SpongeBob actually uses it a lot in their episodes. So let's see how they use it.
What is it? Get down, Sophia! It's my ex-boyfriend, Octavius Rex, a.k.a. Long, Tan, and Handsome.
So that was SpongeBob. And I want you to think about how if they had not used that small little clip of Romeo and Juliet's overture in there, would it had been as intense? What do you think it contributed to that scene? So next is New World Symphony by Dvorak. This is the fourth movement of his symphony, so let's listen to it. Does that remind you of anything maybe? Maybe Jaws? Though it's not a direct clip of Dvorak's New World Symphony, it does sound pretty similar to it. So let's listen. So I know it's not exactly New World Symphony, but it did have that buildup of intenseness in it so that it made the Jaws theme more scary and more intense in a way, and more epic. So next is Beethoven's Seventh Symphony, his second movement. Let's listen to that. So that was Beethoven's Seventh Symphony, his second movement, and it's actually one of the most famous movements Beethoven has ever made, and it's used in X-Men Apocalypse. Let's hear that. So that was X-Men Apocalypse, and I want you to think how this scene would be if they hadn't used Beethoven's second movement in his symphony, and how it contributed to that scene. So next up is Ride of the Valkyrie by Richard Wagner. Let's listen to this. So that was Ride of the Valkyrie by Richard Wagner. And did you hear how chaotic it is? And how it might contribute to maybe an action scene? And I found that in Rango, they use it in one of their scenes.
It's time for the Alabama Squeeze Box.
So this was definitely an action scene that was used in Rango, and they used Ride of Valkyrie. How do you think this piece helped contribute to the scene? Do you think it would be the same or different if they had used a different piece? Now let's move on to Clair de Lune by Debussy. Let's listen to it. So that was a little bit of Clair de Lune by Debussy. And I want you to think, how would you describe that piece? Almost maybe soft and beautiful. It's kind of and peaceful. It's kind of how I would describe it. And I don't know if you've seen this movie, but this is Ocean's 11, and they use it in a very sad scene. So that was Ocean's 11, and that's how they use Clair de Lune. Then let's move on to Man of Fire, and they use it in their trailer. Let's listen to that.
This is my bodyguard, Creasy. You're smiling.
I'm not smiling.
You're not now, but you were.
When?
5 seconds ago.
She showed him.
So that was Man on Fire, and they used Clair de Lune in the very beginning of their scene. Now let's move on to Godzilla, King of Monsters. They also use Clair de Lune in their trailer, so let's see how they use it.
Its original and rightful rulers, the Titans. For thousands of years, these creatures have remained in hiding around the world. And unless all the Titans are found,
So that was Godzilla, and I want you to think, out of all the 3 movies that we looked over, why do you think they chose to use Clair de Lune in those scenes? Was it for a sadness? Was it to create peace? Think about how all of these movies and TV shows that we watched today, why do you think that they used these classical music works in their pieces? How do you think it contributed to that scene? Whenever you watch a movie or watch a TV show, I want you to listen. Maybe they use O Fortuna or Romeo and Juliet's Overture, or maybe they use Clair de Lune in there. Listen to the backgrounds of your movies and TV shows. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you can find some other classical music works that are in your TV shows and movies. Bye!